Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Pierce here, bringing us another video. Now today in this video I'm going to be actually teaching you how to make a 3D Fortnite thumbnail using Blender. Now I will have a separate tutorial on how to actually port models, but for today's video we're just going to be using some ported models I already have, and in the description I'll actually leave a link to a little model pack that has at least I think 100 different skins, so you can just go through that and pick what you like. Now for today's video, I'm also going to be showing you everything you need to install just to make the thumbnail. The porting stuff will be a different video, like I said. So let's just get straight into it. Now guys, when you go into the description of this video, you will see a link to download Blender. I'm actually going to open my Google Chrome here, and if you don't use that link, you could also search something like Blender 2.8 download. I don't know why I did that. And then you want to just download Blender 2.8. Click download and make sure you are downloading for what you have. So we'll do Windows installer, and now it should be downloading. Just give it a second. Just put it in your downloads, and now it's just gonna download, and I'll be back when that's done. Okay guys, so it's pretty much done now. You're gonna want to locate in your files. I already have it here. Basically all you want to do is just run this thing, and when it's done it's gonna bring up a folder. If you want to go to your folders, it'll probably be called Blender or something. Now for me, I have a different type of Blender called eCycles, so I'm gonna open this folder, and in this folder it should say release. Click on that and then find the Blender application file. Okay guys, so once you find this, again you want to just double click it and it'll actually run Blender. I already have it open here, so I'm not gonna do that. Now when you're in here, what you want to do is you want to go to file, then you want to go to append, and basically wherever you saved your character stuff, I'll actually have a link to this model pack in the description where you can actually go here, and I'll just give a quick example of all the different characters that are in here. There's quite a bit of characters, all the popular ones like Skull Troopers, Renegade Raider, skins like that. Just all the more popular ones will be in here, so you can just go through that. It doesn't really matter what models you use, obviously, but for the tutorial, can't speak, man. But for the tutorial, what skin should we pick? Let's do. So I'm not going for like a crazy thumbnail because it's just a tutorial. Let's do Jungle Scout. Okay, guys. So what you want to do is you want to find wherever you saved it. I actually have a folder for all my stuff called Blender. In this folder, I have another folder called Models, and in there I have one called Characters, and that's where I save my stuff. So in here, I'm going to locate Jungle Scout, click on it, then click Object, and then drag and select both of these things, and then click Append from Library. Now you'll be greeted with this. If you use your scroll wheel up and down, it will zoom. You can play around with that. What we want to do is in the top right here, there will be these 4 little circles. We want to click the one next to the all white one, and that'll make sure it shows all your textures and stuff. Now guys, what we want to do is just click anywhere else but the character, and then what we want to do is go to add, and we're going to add a camera. You're going to find camera and click on that. Now what you can do is click this little camera icon right here, and when you're in here you'll see you don't really see anything, but if we go to the little yellow square down here and we move back and then rotation X, it will move up. Now you can actually see the character, and now you can play around with these different movement tools and you can see which each one does. I'm not going to explain each one of them because it's kind of self-explanatory. Just go through it and see what each one does. What I do like to do sometimes is select the character by selecting the bones, and then go into the yellow thing and rotating it a bit sometimes. It just depends on what I'm doing. And then when you're done that, pretty much what you want to do is just click on this, and now we're actually going to do the posing. So what you want to do is click on the bones, and then in the top left under edit and render there will be a thing called object mode. Click on that and then click edit mode, or wrong thing, pose mode, my bad. And then what we're going to do is just pretty much all you have to do is just mess around with different things. Now it doesn't really matter what you do with the poses. Usually I like to just play around with the spines a bit, mess around with different things, you know, maybe move the arms. I'm just going to do a really simple pose. I'm not going to go for anything crazy. We'll just do something like this, and then maybe zoom in, and then make your look at the camera. Just use the move tool, and that'll actually move this stuff. Now, there's gonna be this little toolbar on the side. I can't speak. This little toolbar. There'll be one called Move. It's like 4 arrows. The rotate one, which is like a circle. Those are pretty much the only two tools you're ever gonna really need to use, in terms of this stuff. Now, as you can see, if we use the Move tool, that we don't really want to use that for like arms and stuff. What I usually only use the Move tool for is the mouth. Pretty much just facial expressions. Maybe like the mouth, I'll move like mouth corners. Maybe the upper lid, give her a little smile like that or something like that. Or I'll use it on the eyebrows, like that. Maybe the eyelids. Now, something I do recommend you do if you're just starting off with thumbnails, to make this a bit easier so you can see where different bones are, is on these little options on the right side, there's going to be one dude that looks like a little running dude. You want to click on that, and then drop down Viewport Display, and then check Name. This is going to pretty much just help you with finding different bones. So pretty much you can see like right eye, lower mid, right eyelid, lower mid. That's basically the eyelid, the lower one. The middle eyebrow, stuff like that. Lip corner, that basically can make her smile and things like that. Upper arm, they'll move the arm and stuff like that. And it pretty much just helps you if you don't know where most of the bones are. But after a while, you should get used to it, and you should just know where everything is. Okay, guys, so pretty much now I think we're done with the pose. Now I think we'll do lighting. Okay, guys, so what you want to do is you want to go to the shading tab up at the top. And when you're in here, there will be a thing right here that says Object. You want to click on that and then select World. Now what we want to do is we want to just drag this over to the side a bit. And we're going to want to go to Add, Texture, Environment Texture, and drop that in. And then from Color, you want to make sure that connects over to the color on the green box. Now we can click Open. But before we open anything, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google. This will also be in the description of this website, or you can search it up. You want to search HDRIhaven.com. And once you get to here, you want to, at the top, there will be these things. You want to click HDRIs. Then scroll down and click More. And for this video, I think we'll just do Delta. We'll just do the Delta HDRI. That's one I used a couple times before. Then you just want to type that in, search, and then click on it. And I do recommend downloading in 2K or 4K. Now, usually what I'll do is in my Blender folder, I have one called HDRI. And usually that's where I'll save it. I already have it there, as you can see, so I'm not going to do that. But you can go ahead and do that. Then you want to go back to Blender and locate your HDRI folder if you made one. And then open the Delta 2K, so click on it. Open image. And now that'll be there. What I do also suggest doing is going to the green box. And next to the strength, there's going to be like a little arrow. Click that twice or a couple times. Maybe 1.2, that's usually what I'll do. Do 1.2. And then now when you come back to the layout tab, in the top right where there's these 4 circles, you want to click the one on the very right. But before we do that, I'm actually going to show you all the settings you need to do to make your stuff look nice. So now, guys, we want to go over to the side. There's going to be this little TV thing right here where my mouse cursor is. Click on that. And you want to make sure your render engine is on cycles. And then if you do have a actual GPU in your computer, if you don't have like a laptop, if you actually have a dedicated GPU, click on this and make sure it's on GPU compute. Then you'll probably see something called like sampling or something, and you want to drop that down. And for the render, we want to make this 500, and then the viewport, we can make this something like 60. That doesn't really matter to the viewport. Then you want to make sure all these ones that have like a little box next to them, so hair, simplify, motion, blur, and freestyle, make sure none of them are checked. Then we want to go to film, transparent, close that, and then AI denoise, if you do have this, put it to 3. And then we want to locate this little thing with like 4 little pictures. Close these, and then make sure denoising is checked. Then what we could also do is click the one that's in between the TV and the little images. And in the resolution X, we want to make this 1280. And the resolution Y, we want to make this 720. Okay, guys, so now these little 4 circles, make sure you click the one on the very right. And now when you click that, depending on how good your computer is, this might take a second to load. And once it loads, give it a second, and you should start to see what your stuff is looking like. Now, this is what it looks like with the lighting, but we're actually going to do one more thing for the lighting, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. So in these 4 circles, you want to click the one next to it to go back to this mode. And what we basically want to do is, usually what I do is just uncheck the camera eye and uncheck the bone eye on the right side where these stuff are. and then locate add, light, and area. And basically what I'm teaching you here is rim lights. What you want to do is bring them back a bit behind the character, drag it up a bit, and then with the rotate tool, bring this up so it's like that. And then what we could do is rotate this with the green one, maybe that way, and then go back to the move tool and dragging the red one, you want to bring it this way, and pretty much make it so like the line is like meeting up on the side of her body. And then maybe we could bring this back a bit more. Then what you could do is when you're selected on the light, right click, duplicate objects, click again, and then you want to bring this over to the side using these things. Go to the rotate tool and do the same thing where it pretty much just meets up with the side of the character. Also what I like to do sometimes is maybe add one more rim light at the top. So again, we could right click, duplicate objects, bring this up, maybe move it more centered, and then with the rotate tool again, just move it down so it's aiming at like her neck. Now if we go back into the camera view and we click on that circle that shows the lighting, now we can see there's a bit more of lights that make it look a bit more, just adds a bit more pop. Now as you can see, the lights are a bit too strong, so what we can actually do is I'm gonna go back to this mode. For the first light that we added, locate the little light icon down here, and the power, turn this down to about 4, and do this with every light. So once you've done that with every light, we can go back into that mode, and then we can see how it looks now. So you can see that light's a bit too strong. So we're going to go back once again, and maybe bring down the power to 1.9. See how this looks? I think that looks pretty good. So now guys, we're pretty much done with all the lighting and everything in Blender. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to render at the top over here. Click on it, render image, or you can just do F12, it doesn't matter. But when you're here, depending on how good your PC is, this might depend on the time that this takes. I have a pretty decent PC, so usually renders like this, simple renders, will take me about maybe, I don't know, something like a minute. But I'll be back to you guys when this is done. Okay guys, so the render's done now. What we want to do is we want to click image, save as, and then when we're in here, what I recommend doing is go to your Blender folder. And what I usually do, or what I have, is I have another folder called renders. If you make that, open it, click where it says untitled, and name it something. We'll just do like tutorial. Click enter, and then click save as image. Now guys, we can actually close this. We can close Blender, and we can actually open Photoshop now. Now if you don't have Photoshop, what you can do is just go on YouTube. There's many tutorials showing actually how to get Photoshop for free. The one I use is Photoshop CC 2019, I think, or 2018. That's the Photoshop I use personally. It's my favorite version of Photoshop. I've tried like 3 different versions, but it's up to you, whatever you want to get. Okay guys, so once you have that downloaded, if you didn't get Photoshop, when you're in Photoshop, you want to go to File, Open, and then you want to go to your renders folder that you made in the Blender folder. And then for me, I have a bunch of different things because I've made so many thumbnails before. But for you, you'll probably only have one thing because you've probably only made one thumbnail by now if you're watching the tutorial. So I'm going to find the thing I want to do, double click on it, and now it's going to open this. Now also in the description there will be a little Google Drive link with a bunch of different backgrounds from chapter 2. Now when you're in here, you can pretty much pick whatever background you want. I am just going to pick this background. I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to go to my files. What you want to do is File, Place Embedded, and then go to wherever you saved it. I have a folder called My Backgrounds, so that's where it is. Find it, double click on it, and it will open here. Now over here on the layer side, you want to drag this below your render. So now you'll have this, and click Z, and then drag to the left, and this will zoom out. Now if we make sure we're selected on the background, the move tool, and then there'll be like this little square up here. You're going to want to hold Alt, and then on the corner, drag up. And then what we're also going to do is go to the corner, and it'll like put a little like curve, and then just drag that to the side to rotate it so it matches up with the render. Now what we can also do is move this down a bit. And what I'm actually going to do here, maybe make this a bit bigger. What I'm actually going to do here is, as you can see, there's a bit of space here that's empty. So what you can do is find this little band-aid tool. It's above the brush one. Find this little band-aid tool. Make the brush size maybe like 160. And then just go over the parts that aren't filled in, and it should just do this. As you can see, it pretty much looks natural how it was before, and that's pretty much all you need to do there. Now we can go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and usually for the background I recommend doing a blur of around 2 to 3. Usually I do 2.7. I think 2.7 looks pretty nice. As you can see, there's a bit more of that space there, so we can just once again use the little band-aid tool, fix that up. There you go, that's fixed. And now we're actually going to do color correction. Now color correction, pretty much you just have to mess around with this. For me, every time I make a new thumbnail, based on the vibe of the thumbnail and what the person wants, that basically depends on what I'm actually going to do for the thumbnail. For this one, I'm just going to show you some like basic things you could do, and then for yourself, maybe just mess around and try different things. So what you want to do is in the bottom, there'll be these little things. You want to find in the very middle, click on it, click vibrance, and I recommend playing around with the vibrance and saturation. Whatever you want, you can copy my settings as we go along. So I'm going to do 19 for vibrance and 4 for saturation. Then we're going to go back down to this thing, photo filter, and then click warming filter and change it to cooling filter. Drag this up about 67. Then down here, there's going to be a thing that says normal. Click that, put it on screen, and then drag down the opacity to about 11. Now we can go back to the thing down here. Click brightness and contrast. Up the brightness just a bit. Then we can go back down to here. What should we add? Maybe we'll do another photo filter. This time it will be warming filter 85. Drag this all the way to the end. I'm just messing around here. This is nothing that I have saved already or I've used. I'm literally just messing around here and show you guys just things you can do. Make sure it's 100. Then go down to here and we can use mode. Maybe we can use screen and then bring down the opacity to like 12. Now what you can do is make sure you select on the photo filter too. On your keyboard, hold Shift, Control and Alt, and then click E. This is going to make a copy of our image here. And what you want to do is now on your keyboard, make sure you select on layer 2, click Control J, and this will make a copy of that. Actually, before we do this, we're actually going to go back. We're going to go back to layer 1, the render, then click Control J, and on the one under it, we're going to select that, and then do Control U. Let's bring up the lightness all the way to 100. Obviously, you won't see anything. But now, if we go to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur, and we mess around with this, maybe we can bring it to like 11. Now, as you see, there's a little glow behind us, and then we could probably bring down the opacity to like 43. I think that looks nice. Now, go back up to the top, select Photo Filter 2. Again, Shift, Alt, Control, and E. I'll make a copy. Then click Control J, Control U, and then bring up the lightness to about 30. Click OK. Then go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and let's make this about 7. Click OK. Click OK. Then go to Normal, go down to Soft Light, and then bring down the opacity on this just a tiny bit. And as you can see, it just adds a bit more pop, and I don't know, it just makes it a bit brighter. I think it looks nicer. So after that, guys, you're pretty much done your first thumbnail. If this is your first thumbnail, or if you're just watching this to get tips on stuff, pretty much done your first thumbnail. That's pretty much all it is. As you can see, it's not the hardest thing to do. It does take a while to get really used to it. I started doing thumbnails maybe around April, and since then, I've come a long way improving. Obviously, for some people, it's easier to pick up on. For me, it personally took me a while until I was actually really good at this stuff. Of course, I'm not the best now, but I think I'm pretty good for now. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Soon I will be making a tutorial on actually how to port models, which means you can get whatever model in the game you want, whatever skin you want, backbling, pickaxe, whatever. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been it for this video. See you guys next time. Peace.